and three chief justices and two sitting judges should be member of the Lokpal bill. It is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thanks. Sir, I will do something, I'll attempt something impossible, reconciling these very divergent views from very experienced people. One, I think the broad sense is that the former Chief Justice or a judge must chair this. That judicial and judicious approach is vital, I think, is a broad sense of the House. While the body should not be limited only to judges, there should be freedom to derive from members of other parts of society. Two, there must be an effort to make it inclusive. The sense probably is that to formally prescribe reservations may not be the best way, but there must be a conscious effort for inclusion. Three, there's one suggestion that has come up, I think, twice, thrice, that may be worth considering. I do not know what the Chief Justices feel. The other bodies which have directly or indirectly a role in dealing with corruption and malfeasance, like CAG and CBC, could be invitees without voting rights. I think that there seems to be some merit in that. The decision-making lies with the Lokpal, but their participation will perhaps enrich the whole thing and have better coordination. About the number, there are two broad views. One is between 3 and 5. People with institutional experience seem to look at that as the right number. Another is a larger number. We'll perhaps revisit that question after this group decides on the role of Lokpal. Is that a fair summation, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll go to the third question. The Collegium for Selection of Lokpal.
JP, may I make a suggestion, if you don't mind? Maybe you should do roll before you also come to the selection criteria for the chairperson now, because there is some kind of link between what you see that. And if I may just take 2 minutes of your time, firstly to compliment you on calling this meeting, I didn't do that. Secondly, to see that we have everybody, different stakeholders here, so hopefully we are not going to be able to get this kind of biradri again. By the end of the day, you must be having some kind of agreed draft so that we can give it to the government instead of going on and on. No, just 1 minute, yeah. Having said that, as a kind of appreciation of what you've done, I think this idea of role is important, and there's so many debates on that. And I just want to give my view, and hope others, that this extraordinary amount of things that the Lokpal is supposed to do, I think is a great error. And I think it should be a minimalist role. And I also want to add that a minimalist role with just outstanding people to whom grievances come only which are absolutely clearly in the field of corruption. Not this entire structure of vigilance commissioners in different departments reporting on all kinds of bribery and corruption. That should not be the Lokpal. I would love to see the Lokpal as a tall ombudsman, as we've seen in Scandinavia, whose reputation and the structure is so fine and so respectable that only big, clear issues go up and their decision is almost accepted by the whole of country, because it is such a the stature of the people and the kind of minimalist role that it should have. And therefore, I think it's important for us, because the various drafts that have come have such a tremendous amount of detail on the whole issue of corruption, and I think that will kill the Lokpal institution as it has killed other over-encumbered institutions in India. I just want to say that and add these 2 points about the stalwart, and therefore also in the selection process, I think we should really include many more people who are outside the judicial system and select somebody again who has a reputation for impeccability and a stature in India, somebody they would respect. Thank you.
One related question that did not come up, sir. If we really want men and women of stature and national recognition, perhaps the age limit has to be enhanced. This has not been adequately addressed in this country. Not that there are not many younger people in the country of great competence and ability, but national recognition and self-evident qualities. Sir, Justice Venkatachala, would you like to?
I can mention what I
the upper limit being 75, it may not be a bad idea to draw from people of wide experience and national recognition. below 75 years of age. Not that everybody should be 75 years of age, but perhaps there is a case for enhancing the upper age limit so that we can actually get the best. Particularly when you look at Chief Justices, as somebody made a point, National Human Rights Commission and this body, both Chief Justices, where are these people available? How many are available? So unless we have a slightly wider thing, I don't know how Mr. Sarabji feels.
I think we don't know our people. I mean, when you go to regions, when he spoke from, Raghunandan spoke, I mean, I wanted to add that we should also look at the local self-government institutions in India as outposts for the Lokpal, which has not been mentioned in any of the drafts. And Raghu will support me because there's so much life and so much stature as you come up these levels, which we don't know. We only know ourselves sometimes, I feel. So there is a case for hunting.
Oh, no doubt. And there's also a case for many local institutions and local ombudsmen. They can't be one body, as you said rightly. Sir, would you like to have anything?
You asked me, now I think 75 is good enough. Yes. Don't make it 80.
No, sir, we cannot
75 is
afford
good
that.
enough. But I find here, Jan Lokpal bill says, above 40 years of age at time of appointment. So maybe about 40 years, because I don't understand people under 40 also can have integrity and ability, but the working formula. Above 40, but not above 75.
Item 3, sir, then, in that case. Let's move on to item 3. We'll read it if necessary. Item 3 is the composition issue. There are two broad approaches. We don't have to go into specific details. The government's Lokpal bill, the Administrative Reforms Commission, the National Commission to Review the Constitution, many other bodies, they have come up with a broad composition involving the chairpersons of both houses of parliament, the Prime Minister and maybe 1 or 2 ministers, and the leaders of opposition, and the judiciary. Essentially, the constitutional function is in the opposition in the parliament. Whereas the Jan Lokpal bill has completely excluded the members of parliament elected from both houses or the Prime Minister, government leaders and opposition leaders. So this seems to be a big issue in the country. So if you have a sense of what seems to be most appropriate, that has to go forward. Yes, Arvind.
You see, this version 2.1 has been put in this. Actually, there's been a substantial change. There was an NCPRI meeting and NSE subgroup meeting in which a very good suggestion came. So we have completely changed the selection process. So I'll just briefly explain that now it's a 3-tier selection process that has been suggested. The first is that there is a selection committee. Selection committee consists of the Prime Minister, the leader of opposition, the 2 youngest Supreme Court judges, the 2 youngest Chief Justices of all the High Courts put together, the CAG and the CEC. This is the selection committee. Selection committee appoints a search committee. Search committee consists of 10 members, out of which 5 members are appointed by the selection committee. The 5 members have to be former Chief Election Commissioners or former CAG. However, there are 3 provisos that any person who has had a substantive allegation of corruption or who has joined a political party post-retirement or who is still in the service of the government is not eligible to be on the search committee. Otherwise, the selection committee identifies 5 people for the search committee, and these 5 people in turn co-opt 5 any civil society members on the search committee. So search committee has 10 members, and these 10 members then can write to any class of people or any people in the country and ask for recommendations for the names for Lokpal bill, for Lokpal members. All the recommendations received would be put up on the website. The public feedback would be invited on these names, and on the basis of this data received, the search committee would suggest 3 times the number of vacancies to the selection committee, and selection committee out of these 3 times the number of members would then in turn decide the final number of names. So you have adequate political bureaucratic representation, and also you have, because we thought in selection committee the kind of people that you have would hardly have any time to actually go through the details. So therefore what would happen is the secretariat would put up all the details and they would just endorse whatever is put up to them. So there needs to be a search committee consisting of people who would be able to devote time in going through the details.
Thank you, Arun. We have not had access to that. I'm glad that you have brought it out. Any perspectives on that? Yes, Mr. Babu.
I think the proposal made by the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, that is Vice President of India, who is also Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and Chief Justice of India. The premise is that we must have trust in our own institutions. After all, they are very important, responsible institutions, and we must have trust. Now, the Jan Lokpal bill has proposed a search committee. I mean, it's a very complicated procedure, and you will never be able to finalize this, and you will never be able to find the persons. You know, you have a search committee, you have a public feedback, there is a third year. Maybe this hierarchy of selection may be done away with, and we must trust, whatever be the past experience. All these 5 persons who have been proposed by the Administrative Reforms Commission should be accepted.
Prashant.
The whole object, actually, when we were trying to find what would be the appropriate way of selection, there were 2 considerations primarily in mind. First, that the selection or the selection committee should not be dominated or controlled by the executive, in the sense that it should not be controlled by those people who are most likely to be the subject matter of anti-corruption investigations. Now the question was, how do we on an ex officio basis identify people who would be credible as well as not dominated by the executive who are most likely to be the subject matter of the investigation, and that this selection committee should also not be too narrow, it should be reasonably broad-based. So that is why this formula of having Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, the 2 youngest chief judges of the Supreme Court, the 2 youngest Chief Justices in the High Courts, the Chief Election Commissioner and the Comptroller and Auditor General was thought of, that well, this is a selection committee which is not dominated by those persons who are most likely to be the subject matter of anti-corruption investigations. It's sufficiently broad-based, it's identifiable, because the problem with the selection of the CVC, this whole model which has been made for selection of CVC that we have found is Prime Minister, Home Minister, Leader of Opposition. Even the Leader of Opposition has been a minister in the past, hopes to become Prime Minister in the future. They are usually the persons who are likely to be affected by the anti-corruption investigations of this agency. And therefore, if you allow them to dominate the selection process, they are usually likely to select people who are either weak, liable, ineffective. This is what we have found. And therefore, we felt that this needs to be broad-based and made largely independent of the political executive, so to say. And therefore, this is how this
Would the former Chief Election Commissioners like to come to our rescue?
I think if you have too many members and too many tiers, you may not even complete the process of selection for 3 to 6 months. Timeliness of appointment is very important here. So as far as my suggestion is concerned, if you want to have some kind of a safeguard, you can allow it to be approved by the Parliament, as in many countries such top posts are subject to the approval of the Parliament. But it is not desirable to have too many members and too many tiers to delay the process of appointment.
At the same time, I would like to say that we should not presume that our Home Minister and our Prime Minister and our leader of opposition are corrupt people, because they are, after all,
That's
they
not
are...
anybody's decision. Let not be an iterative process.
Sir, of course, I agree with Mr. Baba, because we had done a lot of discussions and deliberations on it. It would be somewhat more broad-based. I have only two more suggestions. One is that I have the greatest respect for the CEC and the CAG, particularly those here. But you know, the whole process of selection is not bipartisan at all. So I think unless you have a reform there, this question mark. That's one. The second is that as in the US you have confirmation from the Senate, the suggestion made, perhaps it could be put to vote in Parliament.
Mr. Arora. Mr. Singh.
I think we can easily reconcile between Baba Sahib and Prashant. Instead of 1 tier and 3 tier, we can have 2 tiers. Search committee, which Arvind said, is very important, where we can have members from civil society, and like in US, I mean, they interview even the Supreme Court judges. So there is nothing wrong in making the names public and let the people give their suggestions on that and give their reports, whatever they want to say on that. Thank you.
Yes, I know this point about the CEC and CAG being kept out of it. Yes, Mr. Santibhushan, thank you for joining us despite your different health.
I think all of you have recently seen that there has been a big upsurge in the country against corruption. And we have to analyze why was there such a big upsurge. The general perception of people is at all levels there has been so much corruption going on, in spite of the fact that there are laws, there are procedures, there are investigative institutions, there is everything. And therefore one has to ponder, why is it that all those systems have failed and the corruption, rampant corruption, is going on at lower level, higher level, intermediate level, and so on. And that is why an attempt has to be made to identify what could be the reasons why the present system is failing, and if possible to redress them. This Jan Lokpal bill is an humble attempt in that direction to rectify the present situation, with the hope that if such a bill gets passed, perhaps India would be able to see a brighter future. Thank you so much.
Justice Secretary, you have been silent, sir, because yours is the only state where conscious efforts were made, at least in recent years, to appoint the right kind of people. We're all very proud. So, could you throw some light on the process of selection?
Well, pre-tier was recommended by the Jan Lokpal bill to find out people from all sections of the society, from different regions of the country. Therefore, the search committee is the last of the tier. Then a committee to select the search committee, and a final committee which will be going into the selection of the actual Lokpal or Lokpals. Of course, it may take a lot of time, as has been suggested by some speakers. That's why there is a clause there that the incoming person should be selected 3 months before the vacancy arises. So the attempt will start much earlier. It's only an attempt to find out the best people, available people from different sections of the society, and not confined to any particular profession only. That's the reason it is there. I would only say that though it looks rather cumbersome for on the first sight, in reality I think it will be aiding the choice of best available persons.
I want to add one more thing, if I may, Jayaprakash, that is, I agree with Jagdish that we have to go through this, but I think two things, that the search committee is a very good idea, but in the selection committee, I don't know why we are not including eminent scholars in any of this. Somehow bureaucrats, politicians, judges, but scholars in India are not included. Secondly, you must ensure that in the selection committee, you do have representation from women and minorities and Dalits. I have found in selection committees that people don't know eminent women, so I have often given lists to bureaucrats of where they could find people. So there is a need to have representatives of various communities who know who is decent in their community.
Mr. Pradeep Nair.
I just had one idea, that's all. But I find in the selection committee too many judges. There are 4 judges. And I don't think it is fair. Instead, it should be balanced with some eminent people from outside.
Mr.
What exactly is the composition of selection committee, I find?
Now that's
I'll come back to you.
May I just go straight to page 5, Jan Lokpal Bill, number 1, no dispute, number 2, no dispute, Vice President, Speaker of Lok Sabha, there is unanimity there.
So this is changed actually.
Vice President is not there.
As I said, this was the earlier
But then
version.
let's have it, then we can't now.
Yeah, I don't know why. Can I just repeat it, sir, again?
No, but I can't follow it, you say it. Then one thing more. 2 senior-most judges of Supreme Court and senior-most Chief Justice is there? That's what about.
I'll just repeat it, sir. It's Prime Minister of India. Now it is Prime Minister of India.
Okay.
The Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha. The 2 youngest judges of Supreme Court.
But may I stop here? Why youngest? I'm all in favor of youth.
There is a reason behind it. Because if you are the senior most judges means they'll be retiring soon, therefore they are maybe most probably aspiring to become the local.
No, don't say senior most. Don't say senior most, or why say youngest? I mean, we want people with experience. I mean, there may be some explanation.
Younger.
Sure. I want to be enlightened.
From the younger
Yes,
set.
explanation is what I told you. Because
There is senior most. I was saying senior most.
oldest judges will be retiring soon. Therefore, he will be a strong aspirant for the post.
Now, Mr. Kejriwal, do you still have chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission?
No, sir.
Okay. There is nothing.
Now you have CAG, CEC, these 4 judges, Prime Minister and Leader of Opposition. That consists of that is the selection committee. Then there is a search committee, and I'll also give you the reasons for search committee.
Sorry to interrupt you. Retired army
Just one second. I just want to share. In
Retired army personnel is still there?
Sorry, sir. No.
Retired army personnel?
No, sir, he's not.
Oh, I see.
He's not.
Sorry, then I was.
So the reason for search committee is I am aware of selection of some of the information commissioners. There is a 3-member committee which consists of the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and one of the cabinet ministers. Whenever Leader of Opposition in private has shown some hostility, the message that has gone to the...
By consensus, not by vote.
Yes, that is there, sir.
That's very important.
Yeah, that is there.
May I take this, Raghunath?
I endorse the 2-tier process of a selection committee and a search committee for 2 reasons. It is practically, that's the only practical way of really casting the net wider, by having a search committee. And number 2, it is not necessary that a search committee always takes time. You can always evolve practices by which a search committee can
Take 3 months if you have calculated.
Exactly. So I completely endorse this, because we really need to get fresh talent. Otherwise, as Dr. Jain says, we always know ourselves and we know people from our clubs. So I think we should...
Just one point. I would say that chairman of this election committee should be vice president. We should stick to that. And number 2, there should be more of scholars, as Mr. Nair said. So they are needed, more of them, scholars and the other eminent. Thank you.
Can I make a point?
Yes, Mr. Srinivasan.
My name is Srinivasan. I used to be in the civil service. The concept of a search committee is necessary. A selection committee should carry conviction. We are all the converted. The world outside is not so converted to our movement. What they are looking for is not only corruption at high places, but unredressable abuse of power at high places. So let's keep this perspective in mind. The second perspective we have in mind must be that the organs under the Constitution have a division of powers. But the organs under the Constitution must have beneficent, supportive linkages. We should not destroy or diminish them in any way. Having regard to this kind of perspective, I would suggest there is a lot of sense in the Administrative Reforms Commission's suggestion of 5 people who would be in this, because that would allow the division of powers under the various organs to be kept in mind. It could even be added that Parliament should approve it. The search committee can be what has been suggested broadly, consisting of 10 members. The search has to be wide and all over India. This is very important, because one of the trends I see in this entire legislation, amendment and castigate by various people, is that there is a centralization. I think we should make people feel that they have also had a feeling of participation. Thank you. But abuse of power under corruption is very important. That's the undercurrent.
May I take the liberty of quoting from a passage written by 3 eminent jurists whose identity will be revealed in due course, in a different context. Perhaps that will help us clarifying issues. It may be desirable to have a wider consultation with participation of other eminent citizens and stakeholders, and a wide search to identify the eligible pool of candidates, and then to have the list publicly displayed to elicit comments, if any, regarding the antecedents of the candidates or suggestions of any other suitable names. Wide publicity to the process of identification of suitable candidates and views of experts as well as laypersons can be solicited in this manner, without addition of another body whose composition may be problematic. The whole process of wider consultation should be faithfully documented. In particular, the body should recommend appointment of persons on the principle of unanimity and consensus. In other words, if even 1 or 2 members express valid reservations about the suitability of any candidate, such a candidate should not be considered for appointment. Only persons with unimpeachable integrity, blemishless record, and unquestioned competence should be recommended for appointment. Is this a fair enough principle?
Yes, it's good, and
Good.
I think
Very nice.
this kind of thing is good even for judiciary.
Yes,
In fact, this was in the context of that incidentally. So, if this is acceptable, then the details can be worked out by the Parliament, by you guys.
I have one little point. In this selection committee, I hold no brief for the armed forces alone. I am Ram Tehlani, a retired sailor. But it says, retired army personnel who are 5-star generals, independent
That was an
India.
old draft apparently, that's the daily matters. While we respect the army, you don't respect the flag.
Only 5-star general is no.
Because
And why not men?
only one.
I mean, they will distinction here.
Justice Sajal joined us. Thank you for joining us.
I think I didn't join the earlier one, so I may not be right. But I don't know whether the armed forces
No, that's out. It's an earlier draft. That's been
And
clarified.
also, have you put on the Auditor General and Election Commissioner
They are there in the selection committee.
in the selection committee?
That is the view of the draft persons of General Paul Bill. But there is a view because they are themselves been appointed by the executive. They could be
Such a high level
subject.
thing that the Auditor General or the Chief Election Commissioner, you are appointed all by the government, you are putting them to select these chairpersons. That's a strange thing. I mean, the office of course they say that they are supposed to be independent, but they are the ones who are going to be appointed by the government. So they should be the ones who should also appoint the Lokpal.
Yes.
So that doesn't, I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying that judges always do the right thing, but when you pick up judges or Prime Minister or the leader of the opposition, they are institutions. They are institutions. Some institution must do the Lokpal, not the officers, because Chief Election Commissioner does a very good job, or Auditor General does a good job, or CBC does a very good job. He should be the one selecting the Lokpal, right? I don't think that could be.
Swami.
देखिए कि हम इसको लोकपाल के पूरी गरिमा को हमें अच्छी तरह से आत्मसात करना होगा। हम एक ऐसी संस्था बनाने जा रहे हैं जो आज तक हमारे देश में नहीं है, और लोकपाल को बनाने की प्रक्रिया में हमने जो देखा अभी पिछले दिनों, लोक शक्ति का जागरण हुआ। गांधी जी का ये विचार था शुरू से, आजादी के बाद से, कि राजशक्ति कितनी ही अच्छी हो, जब तक लोक शक्ति का अंकुश नहीं होगा उसके ऊपर, अर्थात नैतिक शक्ति का, तब तक वो सही काम नहीं करेगी। लोकपाल के सिलेक्शन के प्रोसेस में मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो ऐसे लोग हैं, साधारण नागरिक हैं, वो चाहे बहुत पढ़े लिखे ना भी हों, कोई पोस्ट होल्ड ना करते हों, लेकिन उनकी इंटीग्रिटी, उसकी पहचान हो। जैसे मैं एक उदाहरण के लिए आज सोचना चाह रहा था, ये सारी लिस्ट पढ़ के, कि सिलेक्शन कमेटी में यदि अन्ना हजारे आना चाहे तो नहीं आ सकते, समझ रहे ना? आपने ऐसा बना रखा, इसको ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हम बनाते जाते हैं हर बार। लोक शक्ति का कोई उसके अंदर हमारी सोच ही नहीं आती। हम आम आदमी को, जो कम पढ़ा लिखा, जो अंग्रेजी नहीं जानता या कोई ऑफिस होल्ड नहीं किया है, उसकी हमारे पास वो नॉन एंटिटी पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा इस तरह के हमने बना रखा है, इसलिए हमारा ये सिस्टम काम नहीं कर रहा है। मैं इसलिए चाहूंगा कि आधे सदस्य कम से कम हमारे ऐसे लोग होने चाहिए जिनकी अपने आप की पहचान है समाज के अंदर, कोई क्राइटेरिया उसके लिए नहीं है।
प्रशांत,
see the problem of it's all right. P. Jain also said that we need to have other people other than office holders in the selection process. That is why we had the search committee. That is why we have the search committee. There is no restriction about how these other 5 members from civil society, or who those other 5 members of civil society will be who will form part of the search committee. The problem with identifying non-office holders in the selection committee is, if you say 2 eminent persons, now which 2 eminent persons? 2 eminent persons, if you say selected by the government, then you are again allowing the government to dominate the selection process. That is why we have built in transparency at 2 levels. At the first level, anybody can send in a suggestion or a recommendation about persons that they want to be selected for Lokpal, to the search committee. Search committee, after going through all these papers and whatever opinions they solicit, after all the material, will shortlist 3 times the number of candidates who are to be selected. The names of those and the biodatas and all the information about those shortlisted persons will also be put out in the public domain. Again, comments will be solicited, etc. All that will be put up before the selection committee, and then the selection committee will make the selection. So, after considering everything, we thought that this is the best via media possible. You can't have any perfect.
They can't be a perfect model, that's absolutely right. Yes, Mr. Soliswaj.
There seems to be some reservation expressed by P. Jain and also by Kuldeep that there is overemphasis on certain elements and exclusion of certain elements. May I just suggest, just a suggestion which has come to my mind, if we have this expression, we include eminent public person of unquestionable integrity.
To be chosen by whom, sir? That's the problem.
No, on the selection committee.
No, even the selection committee, who will decide who are those people to be on the selection committee? That's the point Prashant is raising.
Well then, have this person to decide who will be on the selection committee. There are eminent persons in the field of education, not necessarily in the field of law and judiciary. There are other persons, I don't want to name them, but some come to my mind. Just a thought.
No, there are persons, there's no doubt, but who will choose those persons? The whole issue is ultimately who will exercise that designation. Parth, you have a point of view.
मैं उससे पहले एक चीज कहना चाहता था कि
Yes,
हम कौन लोग होंगे इस पर चर्चा हो रही है, लेकिन वो कैसे करेंगे, बिकॉज ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड पब्लिक फीडबैक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस. बिकॉज आप भगवान को भी बिठा दीजिए, उसको भी गुपचुप अगर सिलेक्शन करना होगा तो वो भी अपना कोई लेके आएगा.
The process, there is a consensus because earlier I read out and there is now some broad understanding, details can be worked out. So now the issue is the selection committee's composition. That is a crucial issue. That we require to involve eminent persons in some manner, it is, I think everybody agreed, but how? Who will choose?
I don't know.
I have a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
I have a suggestion.
You have some people predetermined, like the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, etc., etc. There are four or five on the selection committee. they, by unanimity, will decide whom they will select as an eminent person on the committee, co-opt on the committee. If all 5 of them agree on a particular eminent person, then he can be put on the committee.
That will be too biased, I feel.
No, instead of the search committee, it makes it simpler.
Surely nowadays we have so many ways in which, I mean, some of it is trivial, but TV channels are always saying the Indian of the year, the most popular person. I'm not saying that we should follow that. No, don't mistake me. Of course I don't mean that. But with so many communication things, we can have selection.
The members already on the selection committee unanimously decide that X eminent person can be co-opted onto the committee. He can be selected and put on the committee.
Actually, I also like the idea of selection committee and the search committee being. Yeah, I endorse the idea of selection committee and the search committee being separate. We discussed about how to include other people who are not office bearers. One process of doing that is a random lottery selection from a larger collegium. For example, you can have all the directors of IITs, IIMs, and other universities and colleges, or the advisory councils or governing boards of these institutions, put them all in one single list and draw a lottery of 3 names from that. So that becomes as random as possible. At the same time, it gives you the kind of quality of the people that we are looking for in the search committee.
I think I will be opposed to putting Prime Minister, because then it will all be dominated by a particular view and very few will differ with him. Prime Minister should not be either on selection committee at all.
Lal Sahab, I understand the passions run high on these issues, but there is a large body of opinion which feels a man who can be, or a woman who can be trusted with a nuclear button and declaration of war and peace, if you cannot trust that person to be merely part of a selection process for an authority, we are being a little unreasonable.
Why is the Vice President taken away? I mean, may I ask?
Why not Vice President?
He is there.
No, I am
chair.
He is the chair. Vice President.
No, is he there? No, he is not there.
He is not there now.
I got the suggestion that he gave. You see,
Arvind, is he there now?
Progress.
Vice President? No.
As if all the office bearers, Prime Minister, all judges, all Chief Justices, they are prima facie dishonest. So we can't think any of them. They may have done public service, people may have reposed faith in them, but when it comes to selection of a Lokpal, they'll become so dishonest. I mean, I think it's a remarkable phenomenon that we refuse to trust the people in a democracy. I mean, you ask for, ask for name, I'll send 20 names, somebody says 20 names, then they will put on the website. What is this? Are we selecting an MLA? We are not selecting an MLA that you go and vote. I think this committee, which consists of President, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, etc., surely they should all, if they are agreed, this was one good suggestion, they will agree by consent, so that all right, majority doesn't vote. It may be difficult, but that's a better way of saying that all of them will agree on that basis. I think, let's not start with this, because I somehow have a feeling, if we are starting with this, everybody is dishonest excepting those who are sitting in this room.
Your point of context.
As I said, the idea of having who to have in the selection committee, the whole object was first make it reasonably broad-based so that it is not dominated or controlled by 1 or 2 people. Second, don't allow the selection committee to be dominated by the executive or the political executive, so to say, who are most likely to be within the ambit of the investigations of the Lokpal. Therefore, then we thought how to do it. First we thought Vice President, Speaker, etc. Then suggestions came that no Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition should be there. We thought that, well, if we have Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition as well as Vice President and Speaker, then we have 4 politicians, so to say, who are likely to have been ministers or hope to become ministers, etc. Therefore, let's have just two of them. So we thought, all right, Prime Minister, let Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition be there. Then you have two judges of the Supreme Court, two Chief Justices of the High Court, then you have Comptroller and Auditor General and Chief Election Commissioner, all constitutional authorities, and in a manner that it is not dominated by those persons who are likely to be within the scope of the investigation, or least likely to be. Now, so far as other civil society participation is concerned, it was thought, all right, let's have a search committee. In the search committee, the selection committee could nominate a search committee of whoever they want. This is one possibility. The other thing which was suggested was, all right, let's have 5 people who are from among retired election commissioners or retired CAGs, etc. And the remaining 5 people, they will go out from civil society. So, I mean, this is a via media about how, and simultaneously we have tried to build in transparency at 2 levels. Now, if somebody can suggest something better, that would be fine. I mean, we would be quite happy to have something better. But the main thing to worry about is, don't allow it to be dominated, the selection committee to be dominated by those persons who are most likely to be within the ambit of the investigation.
Mr. Sangh, perhaps all of us are aware that there is a UN Convention against corruption, which is of the year 2005. India was a signatory to this convention, but the convention is to become operative only after the member states have ratified it. So far, it has not been ratified by India, but I learned from the newspapers that the process of ratification is now on, and very soon it is going to be ratified. Therefore, any law of Lokpal will have to be in accordance with that UN Convention. And what most importantly, the UN Convention requires is that the body against which will have to the power to investigate corruption will have to be an independent body. Now, how to have an independent body? If you give the dominant role of selecting the persons to the government, it won't be an independent body. Therefore, it has to be independent. Therefore, the procedure contemplated in this Jan Lokpal bill is, while not ruling out the members of parliament, Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, but the selection committee composition is such which is likely to put in place an independent authority, which is the requirement of the UN Convention.
I think it's a very useful input, Sri Ramakrishnan.
In the interest of moving this debate forward and not getting stuck, I would respectfully submit, none of us are looking for a genetically different eminent person. We are searching around the available pool of humanity in this country. I would suggest the drafting committee has to do a little more work and a little more sweating as far as the people of eminence, how they have to be brought into this. I think the principles you have stated in quoting the Supreme Court judgment are fine. What Prashantji has stated, freedom from the dominance of the executive. May I also most respectfully submit that dominance of the executive is not a permanent feature of any society, and therefore we need not be preoccupied with the present to say we proceed on the paradigm that all executives will tend to dominate. It depends on the procedure, it depends on transparency. I would therefore suggest the broad census, transparency is agreed, the role of the parliament is not denied, there has to be some selection committee, the search committee is an eminently good idea so that you make a search broader. But it seems to me that maybe the drafting committee may give some more thinking as far as the procedures are concerned. That should not be a problem. I would therefore suggest we must really move on to the crux of today, which is what do we want the Lokpal to do? So that if any person is singularly fortunate to become the Lokpal, 3 years hence, what will he or she have to say about his or her own rule?
Mr. Venkatachalya.